Look, no matter what you're doing, you need to always make sure that you always have your eyes on the prize. What do you mean by that? What is the prize and what do you have in your eyes on? What I mean by this is that whatever you want out of life, whatever your goals are, you need to make sure that you're laser focused on it. And it needs to be to the point where you ask yourself, how bad do I want it? Because if you want it bad enough, you're going to do whatever it takes in order to get to wherever you need to get to. Whether it be work overtime, going to the gym 2, 3, 4 times a day, or maybe go more frequently, or do whatever you need to do more frequently. It's all about how bad do you want it. And you need to make sure you know what you want, what the prize clearly is, and try to have a clear path. But what I do know is that as long as I have my eyes on the prize, as long as I'm laser focused on whatever I want to do, then I know for sure that, it's gonna get done. And some of the things that I'm laser focused on is number 1, having a better body, and number 2, overall just, getting smarter and just overall trying to figure out ways that what I could do in order to increase my income. Working 2 jobs, trying to replace 1 job for another job, but that's a different topic. When it comes to distractions, you need to figure out, once you have the prize, once you know what you really want, you need to avoid all of the distractions. You need to abstain or get away from whatever is going to derail you, whatever is going to take you off of your path to getting that goal. I'll give you an example. You want to lose some weight. After you're done from your job, you're sick and tired of walking around with a big beer belly. You're sick and tired of going to the doctors 24/7 because something's wrong with this or something's wrong with this, and you really want to make that change. Now you know for sure that some of the things that are going to derail you, or some of the things that are going to take you away from wherever you want to get to, is going to be, let's say, junk food, a lot of the bad foods, or fast food restaurants, or eating out overall. You know for sure that as long as you can get all of those distractions away, and as long as can have a clear vision, you know that as long as you're on the right path, as long as you do everything correct, as long as all of the conditions are right, you know that you're going to achieve your goal. You know that you're going to get the body that not only is healthy, but the body that you really want. And this isn't just about gym. I just use gym all the time because that's pretty much where I'm laser focused at. But this can go to anything, you know what I mean? Let's say, you've always strived for that promotion, learn a certain hobby, whether it be learn to sing or learn to dance or, different things. You want to abstain away from distractions or things that are going to not be productive at all, or that are just going to lead you in the opposite direction. And it could be little things like, scrolling all day, watching Netflix 24/7, play Love Island, before you go to bed, play another episode of Love Island. While you're working, Love Island. When you're on break, Love Island. Maybe watch, true crime here and there. You want to do things that are going to, propel you, that are going to help you get to wherever you want to get to. And yeah, you always want to have a balance between working on whatever you want to work on and just enjoying yourself, enjoying your family, your friends, or whatever. And that's just one of the things that really sticks to me all the time, that as long as you have your eyes on the prize, as long as you're laser focused on whatever you want to do, that it's gonna happen, whatever you dream of. Another thing that I want to talk about that's equally as important as keeping your eyes on the prize is the price that you're going to pay if you don't fulfill the goal that you always want to put on the back burner, or you always want to go for, but you never have the courage, or you never even tried to begin with. And you have to understand, guys, the reality is that you guys are going to suffer one way or another. Yes, one way or another. You're either gonna suffer now from doing the hard work that needs to be done to get to wherever you want to get to, or you're going to suffer later. You're 60, 50, 70, 80 years old, regretting the part where you let time pass you by, regretting the part where when you were in your youth you could have started a lot earlier, then you would have been way better off now, in your presence. You're going to suffer one way or another. You're either going to suffer the pain of working hard, or you're going to suffer the pain of regret, never trying, and just always beating yourself, banging your head on the wall because you never did anything. You're paying the price. You're gonna suffer either way. Another thing I want to mention, and it's just something that I just thought about right now, and I also have it in my notes, is that a lot of you guys, you want people to be like, you can do this, you can do this. But the reality is that if you have support, good. But if you don't have support, you can't just not do what you want to do because, everybody thinks it's impossible or it's just nobody's supporting or whatever you want to do. You just have to do it anyways. You only live once. Like I said all the time, I mean, not to get vivid here, but you don't want to be on your deathbed and thinking about, oh, what if I would have started this business? Or, oh, what if I would have actually got in shape when I was like 20, 22 years old? Imagine, what I could do. I could probably conquer the world at that point. That's not exactly the predicament that you want to put yourself in. And the main message to this is that whether people are watching, whether people are supporting you or not, you need to always do what feels best to you. You need to do what the prize is to you. You need to strive for your goals, whether people support you, whether people watch you, or they don't care, or whether they're actually just being negative. You need to just go for it. Don't think, just do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, and do it. That's what I'm starting to learn now. That the more you do, the better your life is going to be. Now, Julian, you talk about all of this, eyes on the prize, blah, 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 blah. But what happens if I lose focus? What happens if I just get lost in the sauce and, I just forget everything? I just fumble the ball. What do I do then? Now, I can explain this one and I can tell you exactly what I did. And the only way that I can really answer that question is by giving you guys an example based on something that, like I say in other videos, I used to be in shape 2 summers ago. Summer 2023, July. I was in the best shape of my life. Same muscle mass that I have right now. You can see pretty decent amount. But I was rigid. I was abbed out. I can go like this every single day of my life with my first 2 abs, with my second 2 abs. But summer 2024, the next summer, what happened? I had a lot of love handles. Now I'm fat. I have a lot of body fat, way more than before. Now I look a lot smaller than before. People in the gym tell me, be like, what's going on? Are you okay? But the reality is that that's going to hit you one way or another. Fast forward to summer 2025, and what happened? All of a sudden, I get sexier now. My body goes back to, where it was before. And the main message within this story is that just cause you fell off the tracks doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing that you did to get on the tracks and get back on and do more. So what does that mean? That means that if you bounce off of your goals, if you get distracted, if you get gobbled up by a bunch of nonsense, just keep doing the same thing that you did when you were locked in, and before you know it, you're going to be locked in again. Sometimes you guys just have to think more simple. Sometimes you just have to make things a lot less complicated, because even me, sometimes I go down a 2-hour rabbit hole, what I can do to be in shape, sometimes how to make more money, blah 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 blah. But the reality is that you need to make things more simple. If whatever you're consuming or whatever you want to do, is very complex, very difficult, it's going to be very easy for you to just hop off the tracks, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to just get right back on. This is why I always say the easier you make something, the better it's going to stick. Because if it's very easy for you to transition and something goes south and you hop off the tracks, it's going to be very easy for you to transition again. Another thing that I do when I derail is I figure out what made me derail to begin with, and I just zone into that aspect and try to assess and see what can I do to never fall off again. And it's the same thing, I'll put everything right back into the content of the gym. What happened in that summer specifically that made me get out of shape or not as in shape as the summer before? And I figured it out. I was just doing everything so aggressively. I was doing everything so rigidly, so to the books, and I didn't allow any room for flexibility for any parts of that summer to really enjoy special meals that my parents or my family makes once in a while. The last thing I want to talk about is that, let's say you have the tunnel vision. Let's say you hop off the tracks once or twice, but it's not a big deal, you just bounce right back. But all of a sudden you quit and you don't ever make it to that finish line. Why is that? Now, one thing you guys need to realize is that even though when you're locked into your goals, sometimes it can either get pretty lonely. Sometimes you don't see any return on your investment, you don't see anything coming back to you. You have to just keep going anyways. You have to just, at this point, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, you really need to love the the thing that you really want to do. You need to love just the journey. You need to love the struggle. And the reality is that if you don't love the process to get to the prize, the process to achieving the goal that you want to achieve, you're not going to ever get there. You're going to fall off at some point, and you may not bounce back because, you know, your motive, or not even your motive, but you just give up overall. You just shut the whole thing off. Sometimes a lot of people, they give up on what they really want to do, and when people give up on the things that they really want to do, little do they know, they're very close to achieving the thing that they really want to achieve. And yeah, I'll leave you guys with this. If you guys don't pay attention to anything in this video, pay attention to what I'm about to say right now. No matter what you want to achieve, you need to stay focused. You need to try to reduce your distractions to a minimum, and you need to try to get rid of things that are going to block you from achieving what you really want to achieve. And you're going to suffer one way or another. You're going to suffer the pain of working hard to get to wherever you want to get to, or you're going to suffer the pain of regrets when you're like 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and you're on your last breath and you regret not trying what you really wanted to try sooner when you were younger. So yeah, if you like videos like this, be sure to subscribe and be sure to comment on any other topic you guys think I should cover or just anything overall. And have a wonderful day.